As you can see, I'm surrounded by green. Well, I'm not surrounded by green, but we are sponsored by the good people at Wash and Go today. The lovely people at Wash and Go. What I'm on about, good people. And people often say to me, Mark, is it not hard being a Wash and Go ambassador? And I always have to reply to them like this. Being a rocket engineer is hard. Just ask Elon Musk. Being Manchester United manager is hard. Just ask the 4 managers that have taken over since Sir Alex Ferguson. Being an NHS worker, that's hard. Heroes. That is really hard. But being a shampoo ambassador is as easy as taking a bath. It really is. So next time you're having a really hard day, just run a bath, light some candles, put on some relaxing music and lather up with Wash and Go. Classic Wash and Go. You can pick up your bottle at any good retailer or by hitting the link in the description and getting it delivered straight to your door. Thanks very much to Wash and Go for supporting the United Stand. Now let's move on with the show. And remember, Wash and Go, it's invisible. It's invisible. Everybody, welcome to the United Stand. We're live. United are backing Ollie, we think. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm joined by Ricky. I just said there, at least he's looking well. Everyone else over here is tired and fed up and he's on holiday. How you doing, Ricky?
Fine, mate. Yeah, absolutely fine. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, look, let's start off. I mean, the latest we're hearing at the moment is that the Glazers are sticking with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There is a little bit coming out that they're considering Rangnick. I think ESPN are reporting that. But at the moment, it feels, again, Ricky, like they've almost been caught out by this City result. We spoke about this a couple of weeks ago after Liverpool. I think we all agreed that you can't be losing games like that. And it wasn't just Liverpool. Like Paul Ince said this morning, the Leicester game was bad enough. And it's almost like they got down on their hands and knees and prayed that we were going to beat City and smash Atalanta and everything was going to be all right. And I think everyone else saw this coming and they almost seem to have been caught cold again by the fact that the fans are going, why are you not sacking him? And yet he's still here. And also as well, I just read something that United is still going ahead negotiating contracts for Carrick and McKenna. They're still working on that. It's a weird situation. What are your thoughts, first of all, on where United are at today, and then we'll get into what your thoughts were on the weekend as well.
I just cannot get my head around how this can go on and go on and go on. I mean, we've not been playing well. I think even deep into last season, back into last season, we were talking about that we weren't playing well, even though we were nicking some decent results. And we said numerous times, we're not going to keep going. I think we went down. Did we go 2 behind at Southampton and 2 behind at West Ham and win those games? And we were just nicking games without playing well. And then towards the end of the season, it started to go a bit pear-shaped. We stopped nicking games. We got smashed 4-2 by Liverpool at Old Trafford. Fulham, who were already relegated, took a draw from Old Trafford when we had in that Fulham game, we played our full-strength team with the Europa League in mind, or what Ollie thinks is his full-strength team. We couldn't beat Fulham at Old Trafford, and he still went with the same team as Villarreal. And obviously, they couldn't beat Villarreal. And then this season, it's just a continuation, and it's one disaster after another. How on earth it can be allowed to go on? I've been looking at the fixtures. Look, Watford's obviously a winnable game, but a little bit of luck on the day, and we could win it. You don't know what I always say. Is he suddenly going to make massive changes? I doubt it. But I've looked ahead at the fixtures, and I'm just looking at the league fixtures. I've been watching Palace's games. Palace are playing some really good football. We've got Watford, we've got Chelsea, we've got Arsenal, and we've got Palace. The only one I fancy us to win is Watford, and even that could go pear-shaped. Arsenal, they've turned the corner, not lost since the first 3 games. Chelsea, obviously tough. Palace, they're playing some really good stuff. They've won at City. The only 2 defeats they've had in the league are against Chelsea and Liverpool. Nobody else has beaten. So Palace is going to be a proper tough game, believe me. And I just don't know how he's going to improve it.
Well, the thing is as well, isn't it? We've said it before. I think we said it last weekend, where every time United come up against a team that can play a bit of football, we struggle. And, he played McTominay and Fred on Saturday. There are a few things I want to get to that are in the news. Just a very, very quick shout out. I've seen it today that there's going to be a protest on Saturday, the 13th. Obviously, the United Stand is a democracy. It's not a dictatorship. If people want to attend Old Trafford at 3:00 on Saturday, that's up to them. And, it just shows the weight of feeling again around this incompetence. But let's just talk about, with Ricky, the game on Saturday. Obviously, you've been following United a lot longer than certainly I have. I said that I felt that was the worst derby I've ever seen, and I include Man City when they played us when we were good. I've never seen a team in the derby approach it that way. I've never seen Man City when we were good and they were crap put white flags up and just try and get a draw. And he persisted with McTominay and Fred again. I don't see it getting any better. But what were your thoughts on Saturday anyway? I mean, fortunately, you were on holiday. That's the right, for Mancunian to miss a Manchester derby, you're obviously going to be like, oh, have I made the right choice? I mean, you got it spot on.
Yeah. I watched it in a bar. I'm in Turkey. I watched it in a bar. There was about 35 people in the bar watching United, and it just shows you the strength of United. I went the next day to the same bar to watch Everton and Spurs, and there was 3 people watching it. Well, that's just a side issue, and that included me. Where were we then? Yeah, the game. Going on about the derbies, I remember them beating us 6-1 at Old Trafford, but even when they beat us 6, how long ago was that now? I think it was
coming up for 10 years.
Wasn't it? Yeah, 30 was in charge. But pretty sure we did. We had a man sent off, and I think they dominated that game, but not as much as they dominated this game, even though it was only 2-0. And after we'd had a man sent off, and there was massive holes, I think they scored 3 in the last 5 minutes in that game. But this game, I think they could have scored 6 if they wanted to. They were just toying with us. And there's a lot more. I mean, I know everybody, and yourself included, banging on about McTominay and Fred, and how much I like Van der Beek and how much I like Matic. All I can say is I'm glad they didn't play. There's too much wrong with the team shape and the work rate, if you like. Or it's not so much the work rate. I'm not calling any of them lazy. It's just the nous of where to be on the park to make it difficult for your opponents to find angles. And despite the fact that we would have played a little bit better on the ball if we'd have picked, say, Van der Beek and Matic instead of McTominay and Fred, I'm not sure it made a great deal of difference. There's a lot more wrong than just that.
That was coaching, wasn't it, Ricky? I mean, I saw speaking to someone yesterday. It wasn't on a stream, and they were like, "Oh, we should have picked Van der Beek." And if we'd had Pogba, and I went, "No, maybe against a lesser team they'd make a difference, but that wouldn't have changed much because that was just pure coaching against inability." That they, as I said to Paul Ince this morning, it was pissing it down with rain. We're attacking the Stretford end in the second half, and their goalkeepers waiting for Ronaldo to come to him, just ping it 5 yards. They were just totally in third gear. Didn't make any subs. It was just an absolute. No player would have made a difference in that game because it was tactical.
It was an absolute stroll for them. And I think you mentioned on one of your shows, I've watched a couple while I've been here. I think you mentioned that they played. We've complained about this in the past. We played Tuesday night and they played Wednesday night, and then we've often said we don't want to be playing Saturday at 12:30 if we play
the game. We just don't believe in ourselves, and Ollie was like asked about it in front of the camera, and he sort of like, did he really? It's like,
I did say that.
It's like, it's so, he's lost the players, he's lost the fans. He can't play good football. We said a couple of weeks ago, didn't he? He's ripped up his own ideas to try and save his job with the back 5, and that's not worked. And yet the club are just like, no, we'll stick with him. We'll stick with him. It just seems like it's more than football.
Mark, all you can think to yourself is the Glazers and making the money that is what they bought the club for, to make money out of it, and they're happy with the way it's going financially. Did he even give a toss about how it's going on the football pitch? I can't think of anything else. Are they even bothered?
I mean, look, we spoke about this yesterday, and I did want to ask you about this. Brendan Rodgers has been mentioned. He's been mentioned again today. There was quite a lot of talk about him yesterday. Is that a sort of man? Would you be a fan of that sort of an appointment? I know we've spoken in the past. You said you'd like Conte. He's gone. United seem to be pushing it out there that there's not any options. I think there's always options, whether it's getting it from another club or bringing somebody in. Is that the sort of manager that you think United should be looking at?
Well, under normal circumstances, I would say no way would I want an ex-Liverpool manager. Imagine the grief we're going to get from taking a Liverpool manager, a cast-off from Liverpool.
Yeah,
these are not normal circumstances. We're absolutely dire and we're desperate for somebody to come in. I'll take almost anybody, Mark. So a manager like Brendan Rodgers, who's clearly doing a fantastic job at Leicester. I've got to say I wouldn't normally I don't know if we could get Brendan Rodgers to come in. I mean, you must have seen the rumours that there is a rumour about that they're approaching Leicester for Rodgers, but we might be able to get him at the end of the season. Well, it's no good. It's no good. No. We need somebody now.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Because I think I'm on the same page as you with this. I don't get how, you know, Chelsea can sack Lampard 3 months from now. They did it in January and win a Champions League, but United seems to be pushing this out there. Well, we'll look at it in the summer. We're only at the start of November. It's like, you know, surely a club like Manchester United can't just write a season off and just go, we'll sort it out in November. Because I think in the summer, because I think if top four is going to be very difficult, I imagine it's in Ronaldo's contract that if we're not in the Champions League, he can go. So, you know, waiting for the summer would be a disaster. And also, how do fans... You know, there's so many games between now and then. The feeling's not going to get any better. Football fans are very, you know, determined in how they want to think. They want to believe in something. And if they don't believe anything, it's just going to get more toxic, surely.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And I just can't see it getting any better. I can't see him suddenly, first of all, the tactics and the formation, getting that right. But it's also the personnel. When I mentioned the personnel, that reminds me about the show we did after the Spurs game, and you asked us all for predictions, and I said, well, it's gone great at Spurs. You know, they played the back five, we were solid. Don't think Spurs had a shot on target. I know that's only Spurs, and I predicted 2 wins. But I also said that night, and I thought this was a bit funny in a manner. I said he hasn't developed this squad with playing 3 at the back in mind. I said this on the show on the Sunday night. He hasn't developed this squad. And because he's now going to start, it looks like he was going to start playing 3 at the back. We haven't got enough centre-backs. Because if you're going to play 3 centre-backs, you've got more chance of them getting injured. Then the very next day, Lindelof pulled out of the game. The day after that, Varane got injured during the game. And we just haven't got enough decent centre-backs to support playing 3 at the back. And... I did see somebody, I can't remember it was on what show it was on, somebody was saying, you know, it doesn't seem to matter whether we play 5 at the back or 3 at the back or whether we use his normal format.